Why does this keep happening? So in my many years as a plant nerd now, I have come across, I would say, like 10 different things that I keep messing up that I think new plant parents don't really know about. So that's what I wanted to cover. But I know that you've probably seen 64 videos all about this, right? So instead of just going part 1, part 2, part 3, let me show you the different ways I have messed up as a new plant parent and how, if you are facing the same problems, you can solve it. So let's do that instead. First, have you ever bought the cheapest soil at Home Depot or Lowe's? Have you? I have, I know. And you think soil is soil, whatever, but it's not really all the same. And you should not go for the cheapest just because it's the cheapest. This is a situation where you do pay for what you get. Now, my friends, I don't want you to think that means that you have to get every special soil that's ever been created. It is so complicated. What I do mean though is that you need to understand the needs of your houseplants and pot them in soil accordingly. And what I mean by that is you can't go for the cheapest stuff, because the cheapest stuff typically will not be great for your houseplants. It won't have perlite. It will probably just be really compacted and not great. So consequently, water has a hard time seeping through. Nutrients have a problem seeping through. The tightness, because there's nothing really in it except for soil, means that the roots have problems spreading. It gets kind of complicated, and that's because it's cheap. Like, it doesn't have any additives, it doesn't have any goodies. So that's a problem. And I know that it's bulk and it's cheap, and that's awesome, right? Except it's not. And so don't cheap out on the necessities. You could cheap out on other stuff, but soil, water, fertilizers, yeah, you don't want the cheapest. And look, that doesn't mean that you have to go crazy. You can make your own. There are tons of videos on YouTube that show you how to make awesome planting soil. All you really need is just a soil, some perlite or something like that, and a good mix. Maybe some charcoal if you're feeling fancy. Did that cover it? My point is, don't buy the cheap stuff, because cheap will end up costing you money later on. Which brings me to ... You buy the most expensive everything because your plants deserve the best. And they do, but it's not always a pay for what you get situation. I have found so many pots and tools at the dollar store. So many. This pot is from the dollar store. This pot is from Goodwill for 99 cents. You don't need to get designer artisan plant pots that are full of like humidity testers or self-watering, blah, 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 blah. You don't need that stuff. What you need is to make sure that you're not going bankrupt because of your houseplants. Yes, it's good to have the tools available as you need them, but it is so much easier to work in a budget because you will find so many ways to get creative. I have seen people use old china as like plant trays, like water saucers, or plant pots for succulents, or so many things. You buy what you want to buy. I'm not gonna judge you for what you decide to get. I will say, being cognizant of the materialistic ways that you might indulge can be problematic on a grand scale, when you could repurpose from thrift stores and make things so much easier. Now, granted, I will admit, I just told you I bought stuff from the dollar store, and that they're not really known for their good eco footprint. I get it. So, I'm not trying to be self-righteous. I'm just trying to more say that you don't need to go broke to be a plant parent. All you need to do is make sure you're buying the right stuff and maybe getting creative with those kind of things. I wish this problem was something that I dealt with a lot, but mine is actually the flip side, and I'll get into that one in a second. So many plant parents, especially new ones, become helicopter parents, and they overlove the plant, and they quite literally smother it because they give it too much love. I know that you love your plants and you want to make them so happy, and every time it kind of like wilts a little bit, you freak out, or like that little brown spot is just, what does that mean? Oh my God. And so you give it more water, or you move it, or you put it in a new pot really quickly without kind of triaging it and diagnosing it. And that helicopter parenting smothers it, literally. It can't flourish. You need to give it a shot. You need to give it a chance to go to plant college and make mistakes and then come back and thrive. I know I'm getting a little too personification-y with this, so, but you get my point. Like, you have to find that medium between making sure it has the care it needs and not neglecting it. So let's look at this guy. This is a philodendron, and as you can see, he's like crazy. He is the king of this windowsill. But can you spot the problem? He's being neglected. That's my fault. Obviously it's my fault, because he should not have this branch. This branch should have been cut off a while ago. I just never got around to doing it. And that's the same thing that a lot of people will get in their heads, neglecting their plant's basic needs. And that goes back to not really understanding the things that your plant needs to thrive. Philodendrons, monsteras, all of those, they're climbers. They're climbers and they're hold-on tours. They like to grab things and hold on to them. That's why monsteras have those cool aerial roots. So consequently, to properly maintain these philodendrons and monsteras and all of these things, you need to really chop them up and make sure that they're more bushy than leggy. And I don't like doing that. I know, like I should, and I realize that I'm a houseplant channel. I should be doing all of the right things, but I don't. And I just get really nervous about chopping up plants, which I shouldn't, because I know how to propagate and I know how to do all that stuff. I don't know, I just kind of like, oh, scared. Don't be like me. Don't neglect your plants. And make sure that you're getting plants that not only are you going to be able to chop up with ruthless abandon as they need, but that you're giving it the right water. You're not just giving it tap water, you're giving it nutrient-rich water. You're making sure that it's getting the water routine it needs, it's getting the sunlight it needs, and you're not neglecting its basic care. 5, I'm someone who loves variegated plants and different colored plants, all of the like pink princess philodendrons and all of those things. Those are so beautiful and so cool. And try as I might, I can't keep them beautiful. I lost the variegation on my monstera. I'm pretty upset about it, actually. And that's because I wasn't buying plants that fit into my lifestyle. As someone with ADHD, I am reminded time and time again that I can't give everything the attention it needs if it is a very hardcore attention-seeking plant, especially variegated plants, plants that have very strict water regimens. It just doesn't fit my lifestyle, and consequently, despite my best intentions, I don't really have a great track record with pretty plants. So for the most part, I stick to just more idiot-proof ones and look at your pictures instead and just think like, oh, I wish you were mine. But then this happens and I lose my variegation. Along those lines too, you also want to think about your living space. Despite moving recently to a newer house that has more light, it's still kind of dark in here, especially because I live in upstate New York. There is no sun up here for like half the year. So I can't do a lot of plants that have high light needs unless they can handle like artificial light, like my aquarium lights or my grow lights. But if they are ones that require like crotons or something, it just doesn't work out for me. And same for you. Before you start plant shopping, really think about where you're going to be putting these plants in your house. Are they going to be outdoors? If so, what direction are they going to be facing? You know, west facing sunlight versus east facing sunlight. It's a big difference and it matters. And the same in your house. Where I film and my office is on essentially the ground level, I guess, of a split level house. And so half of the room is underground. Consequently, it's really cold in here all the time. And there's not a ton of light that gets in. Like I have this light and one over there that you've seen in my propagation videos, but it's not a bright space. And I have to work within that. So I can get grow lights and I can get aquarium lights and all of those things to make it work, but I have to think about that beforehand, and so do you. What is the space that you're going to be putting your plants in? And can you accommodate the type of plants that you want? The good news is there are thousands of houseplants that run the gamut in terms of how hardy they are and how idiot-proof they can be. So you're not just relegated to, you know, a boring philodendron. I love philodendrons, but you know what I mean. Most likely you're going to be able to find something that fits in your space, but my advice to you is to think about your space before you think about the plant, and not the other way around. You don't want to end up in an unboxing situation where you get all of these really cool plants out and you're like, oh no, where am I supposed to put these? And then they die and you lost all that money and you lost your plant. Don't lose your plant. You know, when I first started getting houseplants, I started at, and I still visit, Lowe's clearance section, because back then it was even cheaper than it is now. Now it's like 50% off or something, but back then I could get like dollar plants. It was so awesome. And I really loved that because it was a really great way to learn about the care and the horticulture, don't I sound fancy, without investing a ton of money, because I didn't really know where to look for help. Now I am much better equipped to find the answers that I need for any kind of plant help that I'm looking for. Same goes for you. You can come here. I have so many videos and so many more coming where I dive into individual plants, talk about their needs, tips for keeping them alive and thriving, what to do about pests, water schedules, all that. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because you're gonna get so much good nerdy houseplant info here. Also, I'm really a big fan of the subreddit Plant Clinic. The people who go there are very helpful, and I have used them a couple of times to figure out what is going on. But don't sleep on your local garden center too. Now, sometimes the big box stores will hire people that know what they're doing with houseplants, but sometimes not. And that's why I usually recommend going to a local nursery rather than a big box store if you want help. I mean, you know, like buy a plant to thank them for their help, but typically you're gonna be able to find someone who is well-versed in what grows well in your area and help you troubleshoot any plant problems that you're having. But Plant Clinic is great, as is this channel. I'm just saying. I can't believe I said that. I'm not that prideful. That was very uncomfortable for me. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is February, so it is winter, and that means no fertilizers, none. Because the plants need some time to hibernate and chill out. What I've noticed so many people do is they'll get a new plant and they'll think like, how does that phrase go? We're gonna start off running. That's not it, but you know what I mean. We're gonna hit the ground running and we are going to give this plant everything possible that it could need to go and just flourish. And they give it fertilizer and they give it too much, or they give it in the wrong time of year and your plant goes into shock. Or even worse, it suffers fertilizer burn and it just becomes an emergency situation for your houseplant. So make sure you're using the right fertilizers at the right time of year. The best time to fertilize is about once a month, starting in spring, right around its early growth season. So right when it's like, you know, it's kind of waking up and kind of getting ready to start like branching out, literally, and flourishing. That's when you want to give it some juice to get it going. I love Schultz all-purpose plant food for my terrestrial plants and Thrive fertilizer for my aquarium plants. With regard to aquarium plants too, you also want to make sure that you're using a fertilizer that is right for your ecosystem. The reason that I use Thrive is because it's specifically designed for aquariums that have shrimps, snails, coolie loaches, creepy crawlies, basically a bunch of little crawly stuff down at the bottom. Some of them are not designed for that and can really wreck your ecosystem and make it not a great spot for your fish or your fish's friends. So make sure you're using the right fertilizer and make sure you're using it at the right time of year. So let's say you got a plant, you bought it online, and it's one of those like starter plants from Etsy where you had to buy two. I don't know why they do that. Why do they do that? I guess we all really know why. They do it because it makes money. So that's not this conversation. You buy some starter plants. They come in the mail and you're like, yes, yes, here they are. Let's put them in a pot and let's get this party going, and then they die. Why have they done that? Well, you haven't given them time to acclimate. Think of it like, let's think of it like a long, strange trip where this little baby plant, let's pretend my Thai constellation is a little baby plant. Let's say it's just this little guy. And he had to go on an epic quest to reach you through hot mail trucks and freezing mail trucks and tossed around in process sorting facilities and just full of like styrofoam and stuff. Like it's dark, it's cold, this heat pack is weird. What is and now I'm thrust upon this new place and I don't have my bearings and I don't know what is this? Honestly, I know that sounds really over the top, but that's what your plant's going through. You need to give it time to adjust in its space. So don't immediately put it in a new pot and don't immediately plant it if it's going outside. Give it time to acclimate and kind of get its bearings. You don't want to throw in too many new variables too quickly, because think about it, you're going to be giving it new water it's never had before, unless it was grown next door to you, new light situations, new soils, new fertilizers. It's all new. Give it some time. Think of it like dating, like we just want to take things a little bit slow here. We want to get to know about you and what you're going to need before I start moving in. Same thing goes for your plant. So give it usually, well, we'll get to that in the next part because it segues into it, and that is making sure you quarantine your plants. Look, I love my plants. I love my unboxings. You've seen videos of all of my unboxings, and it's really hard to put these plants away and kind of keep them off to the side because you want, like, you bought them because they're awesome and they're beautiful and you want to add them to, and you want to look at them all the time, but you need to quarantine because you don't know where they're coming from. It's like, you don't know where that mouth has been. You know, like, you don't know where they're coming from. They could have bugs or disease or even more bugs and disease. And if you introduce that accidentally into the rest of your houseplant, that's not good. So you need to quarantine them. And you need to make sure that whatever creepy crawlies they're carrying are going to die before you introduce them to the rest of the class. Now, if you want to know how to do that, I made this awesome DIY plant jail that you can do yourself. And this is that video that shows you how to do it. I'll see you in there.